Hello everyone. As promised, I am back with my second video. The topic of this video is embedded finance. The word sounds fancy, but the objective of this video is to make it easy for everyone to understand. We will discuss this topic in three parts. The first one being introductory comments and examples where embedded finance is being used. With those examples in mind, it will be easier for us to understand the definition of embedded finance, and that will be the second part of our video. The last one will be my point of view on embedded finance with few closing comments. So let us start with it. Since every number tells a story, let us start with it before getting into the nitty-gritties of embedded finance. According to Lightyear Capital, embedded finance will generate $230 billion in revenue by 2025. As if this is not enough, it has been predicted to grow into a $7 trillion industry in just 10 years from now. So the question that comes up is, why is this happening? There is one more interesting study by McKinsey, and it says that in Asia, bank branches now account for just 16% of monthly transactions, which directly means that the remaining percentage of monthly transactions is all digitally driven. Now this directly means that customers are more inclined towards digital initiations rather than going to the bank branches, which is more of brick and mortar structure. Now tell me one thing, when you and I purchase a product, we always look for monetary offers, be it 5% cashback or 0% EMI. Now these are banking offers. There are two ways bank can market these offers. The first one being, you visit their mobile app or web portal, look for offers, look for the product if they have a marketplace there, and make the purchase. Or the second one is that during your e-commerce journey on the platform like Amazon's and Flipkart's of the world, payment offers by multiple banks, mind me, multiple banks are shown for you, and you can choose one of those that suits you and you can go ahead with the journey. I will leave that thought with you, that out of these two options, which one will you choose? Now there is a tectonic shift in the end user's behavior. As a bank, if you want to stay relevant, the way to target this new market needs a drastic change. It is as simple as the techniques and the instruments needed to catch a saltwater fish are very different than the ones needed for fishing a freshwater fish. On the same lines, traditional finance will not work, but embedded finance will, because consumer behavior has changed, and in this new digital era, customer loyalty is a myth. So let us take a few examples on how non-banking players have embedded finance into their service. The first one being Google Maps, which has integrated Google Pay for parking and transit fares. The beauty of this offering is that it is a frictionless embedment of finance in the customer's journey. To make this possible, Google Pay integrated with parking solution providers around the world. With this innovation, you don't have to go close to any of the parking meters. Instead, Google Maps will identify your proximity to the parking lot and will show a button as pay for parking. It is as good as just one-click pay, and you are done with your parking payment. The second example is equally interesting. Chinese consumers are now shopping more through live streaming and video apps. Yezibo or Kuaishu, which are Chinese live streaming platforms, allow you to purchase the merchandise you see during the live streams, and that too with a click of the button. This takes care of the customer experience while live streaming, plus on-the-go product selling, and that too, the real-time payment is being done, followed by the delivery of the product. This concept is similar to the Amazon Live experience, and let us have a quick look at Amazon Live that was launched at the beginning of 2019.
I'll do it one more time. The fact that they didn't sell out yet, I'll do it one more time. So tell your friends to follow me on Amazon. They can go to my Instagram right here and to get the swipe up link to this live. So they can then follow me by hitting the little yellow follow button on mobile. If you're on desktop, you put your cursor over my face and hit follow. And then in the future, when I do this live, they'll get the discount. So spread the news to your friends, your family. And then also I'm gonna have more big discounts in the future. So I'm checking out with the air fryer. It's still full price. Oh no. I'm wondering if they sold out. Carrie, did you claim the discount code first? You have to claim the discount code. Like right under this video, there's a yellow button that says claim discount code. You have to claim it first, okay? Then put it in your cart. You won't see the discount in your cart. You'll see it at checkout. I'm gonna hold on, Carrie, until you...
The fourth example being in insurance, for instance, ZhongAn in China has scaled rapidly through embedded insurance. ZhongAn is the first 100% online insurance company in China with a market capitalization of close to 7 billion US dollars. ZhongAn, in partnership with Xiaomi, has developed an embedded sensor that is built into the phones and can automatically detect if there is a crack in the screen. Instead of customer having to file a tedious claim form, ZhongAn automatically detects the claim, authenticates the claim, lodges the claim, and that too all in real time, and offers to ship a new phone. This is a classic example of embedding a financial experience into the value chain of the offering. Now the beauty of all these use cases is that it brings non-banking players into the financial ecosystem, and finance shows up only when you need it. Now coming to the closing comments. This looks quite interesting when we see this from the end user's perspective. It is all the more interesting to know how banking will take a dip into it. In my view, white labeling or co-branding is a way forward for financial institutions. Banks have to make terms with the fact that collaboration is the way forward. The bank product and service architecture shall have microservices or APIs to collaborate with experience providers. And when I say experience providers, I am talking about the likes of Amazons, Flipkarts, and Alibabas of the world. Banks need to realize that they do not always own the customer journey. However, they have all the opportunities to be a part of it. Banks shall now strongly focus to attract a new set of consumers that they have, and it is equally important than being a corporate or retail customer, which we call as third parties, such as retailers or telcos, etc. While taking API's first approach, banks shall focus strongly on creating developer communities where use cases can be brainstormed and sandboxed. Banking world is getting collaborative day by day, and the sooner the banks realize this, the better. As a famous saying goes, हम ही हम हैं तो क्या हम हैं, तुम ही तुम हो तो क्या तुम हो. This goes true even for fintechs, banks, and even e-commerce platforms. With this, I would like to thank you all for spending your time with me. For more topics like this, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.